Yo, what's good everybody? It's your boy Malcolm and I'm back for another video, and in today's video we are going to be giving a review of the new Transformers 1 movie. Let's get into it. Disclaimer, this review will have spoilers. If you want a spoiler-free review, go check out my other video here where you can find my spoiler-free review of the movie to find out if you should see it or not. And before we get into the review, make sure you guys like, share, comment, and subscribe. A lot of you guys watch all my videos but don't subscribe, so go ahead and hit that button so you know when new videos are coming out. But without further ado, let's get into this review. This weekend I went and saw this movie with my girlfriend and I had the time of my life. I love Transformers. I'm not one of those guys who knows literally everything about Transformers, but I know a lot. I've seen all the Michael Bay movies. I've seen a bunch of different cartoons and TV shows and things of the sort. I owned a lot of the toys, but there's a lot of information that I didn't have. And this movie gave me a lot of information I didn't have from before they came down to Earth. I'm just gonna be straight up and be 100% honest with y'all. I did not know that Optimus Prime started off as Orion Pax. I did not know that Megatron was originally D16. I thought they were always Optimus and they were always Megatron, and I knew that there was like a war going on Cybertron and it was a dying planet and all that, but I didn't know any of the stuff that happened before that, and this movie gave us all of the stuff that happened before that, and I loved it. First and foremost, the acting was incredible. I've been on record multiple times saying that I think Brian Tyree Henry might be the greatest actor of our generation. I've seen him play so many different roles and they're all vastly different, and every time he's able to convince me that he's a vastly different person. It's to the point where I have no idea what the guy is actually like. I've seen him play so many different people. I have no idea what he could potentially be like in real life. And in this movie, watching him go from this cool, loving best friend to this cold-blooded killer, the switch up was insane. And we'll talk about that a little bit later, but the acting, perfect. Same with Chris Hemsworth as Optimus Prime. I was not expecting him to do a good job in this role. Optimus Prime has a very deep, powerful, leadery voice that I just didn't feel like Chris Hemsworth had, but he proved me wrong. He did do a good job as Optimus Prime. I do think he did a better job as Orion Pax. Once he turned into Optimus, it wasn't what I really needed, but he still did a very good job. Keegan-Michael Key did a great job as Bumblebee. It's always cool to see Bumblebee talk because the Bumblebee I know can't talk. All he can do is communicate through his radio. So seeing him able to actually be able to talk and communicate with people, I thought that was awesome, especially the fact that he talked a lot. All he did was talk from the moment we met him. Every single time he was on the screen, he wouldn't shut up. And he was hilarious, but it's just cool to see that juxtaposition from a character who never shuts up to a character who can't talk at all. One of my favorite things about this movie was getting extra lore about the things that I know in the Transformers universe, but I don't know super well. So like the Bumblebee thing, it was really cool to see Bumblebee when he was able to talk and see what happened in his past. It was really cool to see what went on between Optimus and Megatron. And it was just cool to see all these bots that I've come to know back on Earth when they were still on the planet. Like seeing Starscream and the High Guard and seeing Sentinel actually betray all the other primes. I've always known that Sentinel Prime was a shaky dude, and I knew he did a lot of bad things and he wasn't really rocking, but I didn't know that he was so shisty that he snaked all the other primes and got them the fuck up out of there, and then was stealing the cogs out of Transformers to stop their ability to transform. I'm not gonna lie, that is some real evil shit. It's one thing to snake all your brothers and sisters. It's another thing to sell all the energon and give it to the bad guys, but to steal the transformation cogs out of other bots, something about that just feel like a different level of violation. Like that is a different level of evil that you just can't condone that shit, man. He is a like, I knew he was a bad dude, but god damn. Also, the backstory of finding out that there was another race on Cybertron who was controlling and go to war. I know a lot of people who know a lot of Transformers probably knew that already, but I thought that the only real issue on Cybertron was that the planet was dying and that the Decepticons and the Autobots were going up against each other. I didn't know that before that there was a war against a whole nother race of creatures. So just learning more and more about the world was great to me, and I know we're gonna learn learn even more when the second movie comes out, because there has to be another one. This movie is gonna be highly successful, and they're gonna come up with one after that, probably about Optimus and Megatron going head to head. One thing that I really liked about the backstory was seeing them transform and finding out why that's important and what the meaning of transforming is. Cause to me, you see them transforming into cars and airplanes and shit on Earth in order to blend in. But my question had always been, why would they ever transform back on their planet? What would they be transforming into? They've never seen a car before, so why would they transform into one? But seeing that they transform in order to be able to move faster, do more things, fly around, compete, it made more sense. And finding out that they are still transforming into vehicles, but not like the cars that we know and love. Like, they're not turning into a damn Bugatti or a truck or things of the sort. They're just transforming into just different vehicles that look cool and do their thing. Now, another thing that I loved about this movie, and I said it a little bit in my spoiler-free review, is I love that it was only bots in this movie. As we've seen in all the live action Transformers movies, they always have to have a human aspect and a human element to them. So the main character of the movie is never truly the robots. It's always the human counterparts. And yes, I get it. It makes it a little bit easier to connect with the audience if you have human characters, but I'm not here to learn about the characters. Like, don't get me wrong. I love Sam Witwicky, and seeing his bond with B grow and all that, that was cool. I didn't give a fuck about that shit that was going on with Mark Wahlberg or in the Bumblebee movie. I didn't care about none of that. I just want to see the robots and hear the robot story being told. And I think that this movie did a perfect job of that, because I didn't have to deal with all that extra human backstory and crap that I don't really care about. Show me robots fighting and show me the backstory of these robots, and the story of these robots in this movie did just that. And that is another reason why I think that animation is always going to be the perfect way to tell a story, because this story was told perfectly and you don't have to deal with all that extra bullshit. Speaking of the animation looked very crispy. I loved it. They did a really good job of showing what Cybertron looked like. All the designs of the robots were original, but still stayed true to the actual characters. Like Optimus Prime, you can clearly look at him and tell he's Optimus Prime, but he looked a little different from other Optimus Primes that I've seen, and I like that. Now, I'm gonna be honest, I love this movie. I thought it was absolutely fantastic, and it is probably the best Transformers movie we've ever gotten. However, there were two problems that I had with this movie that I feel like could have been resolved very easily. And it's not enough to make the movie bad, but if you watch the movie, you're gonna know what I mean by this. So my first problem has to do with the switch up of Megatron. As we saw in the movie, D16 was a cool bot. He just wanted to follow the rules and do his thing. And Orion was the one who was always making him take those extra steps, do more things, and kind of get out of his comfort zone. It caused him a lot of trouble, but there was always positives that came with it. Like when they entered into the race and they won the race and they got to meet Sentinel, or finding the map to go get the Matrix of Leadership. Like, yes, he did always get them in trouble, but those things kind of always led to a benefit. And no matter what, they stuck with each other and they were best friends, and it was great. Then they find out that Sentinel Prime is a horrible guy. He's a bad dude. And as we know, D16 really looked up to not only Sentinel, but the Prime. So finding out what Sentinel did really broke him. And I think that him breaking and finding out that information, finding out that everything that he's ever known is a lie, I think that is completely valid. I think that makes perfect sense. However, the way he started treating his best friend Orion after that moment didn't feel justified. He started being a lot more cold-blooded and cruel, and he wanted his version of justice and revenge, and he wanted to make them hurt. But what did Orion do? What did he do to deserve him just being an absolute dick to him for no reason? And it made sense later at the end of the movie when he became Megatron and he was like, I hate all primes. Primes have to die. Forget these false leaders. I hate them all. Because then Optimus comes up and he is a prime and he's like, yo, now you stand for everything that I'm against. But before that, He wasn't a leader. He wasn't a prime. He didn't do anything to him. He wasn't working with Sentinel. What the fuck are you mad at him for? I feel like they could have added something in the movie to make a smoother transition from him being this cool, loyal friend to being against Optimus and just being a dick to him for no reason. There could have been something a little smoother in that. Now, the second problem that I had with the movie is kind of similar to the other one. At the beginning of the movie, Orion is very irresponsible. He makes a lot of poor, rash decisions. He doesn't really care about people, and he wants the best for everybody, as we saw when he saved Jazz in the mine. But he does rash decisions and doesn't really care about the consequences or outcomes. By no means at the beginning of the movie is Orion Pax a good leader. But not only is he not a good leader, but he doesn't know how to lead. He doesn't have any leadership experience. So then after they meet with the High Guard and Sentinel's people come and they fuck everything up and shit gets really bad, and Alita gives him that speech and he's just this magically good leader. It feels unbelievable and it doesn't make any sense. Now he's leading the High Guard and then he goes down and gets the minor bots and explains to them all these things that are happening. And it's like, I get it. We know that Optimus is a great leader. That is one of his core traits. But we didn't see him learn how to lead, and it didn't make sense that he just became this big, great leader out of nowhere. Maybe I would have understood it more if he became this great leader after he got the matrix of leadership and like that is what turned him into a good leader. But it just didn't feel earned. It felt like it came out of nowhere. And my two complaints kind of go hand in hand in that sense. I feel like there need to be another act that showed D17 falling into a descent and why him and Optimus fell out, and also where Optimus gained some leadership experience, because the movie was doing great, it was building perfectly, and then it just jumped to where he's being a dick to Optimus and Optimus now knows how to lead. Do I feel like this is a bad movie because of that? Not at all. The movie was still fantastic, and that's a very, very, very minor critique. Everything that it did good far outweighed all the things that it did bad. But that scene where Orion jumped in front of Sentinel to stop D, and D grabbed his arm and was holding him, trying to save him, and you see him blink and he opens his eyes and they're red and he goes, "I'm done saving you," and just lets him go. I was like, wow. That shit was cinematic as hell. To me, that felt like the scene where Scar let Mufasa go and was like, "Long live the king." And he let him fall. Man, that shit was crazy. That was a really good movie. There was a lot of great moments, man. I loved it. I had a blast. If you haven't seen it, I highly recommend you go see it because it is so, so good. I'm definitely going to go see it another time because I had a great time, and I'm praying that they make another Transformers movie in this specific universe, because seeing the animation and seeing just the storytelling and the characters, it was all so perfect and it was really great. And I would love to learn more about that Transformers lore of seeing Megatron and Optimus actually go head to head against each other as mortal enemies and see that whole battle for Cybertron that we all know is gonna happen. So it was great. Highly recommend it. I would give it a 9 out of 10. If you haven't done so already, please make sure to hit that subscribe button and leave a like, and I will see you guys in the next video. Thank you guys so much. I'm out. Peace.